Welcome to The Explainer. Let's jump right into it today. We are tackling something that humans have debated for literally thousands of years. Karma. More specifically, we're going to decode the actual mechanics of destiny and human effort, and we'll be using K.N.Rao's incredibly analytical teachings on karma theory to do it. If you've ever found yourself wondering why unexplainable things happen in your life, or how past actions are shaping your present reality right now, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to demystify these really complex spiritual concepts using clear, everyday analogies.
Okay, let's take a look at our roadmap. We are starting with life's karmic bank transfer. Then we'll look at destiny versus human effort, wealth that never decreases, the downward flow of attachment, and finally, family bonds and karmic debts.
All right, part one, life's karmic bank transfer.
So to really grasp karma, we have to look at the seemingly random things we encounter in life. What if, actually, none of it is random? What if these circumstances are deeply calculated transfers? K.N.Rao uses this really great relatable metaphor here. Think about a job transfer. If you get a transferable job and move to a new city, what's literally the first thing you do? You move your bank account. You take your balance with you to the new location. Well, according to this spiritual framework, the exact same thing happens to the soul. When a soul goes through the cycle of birth and death, a portion of the deeds from the past life is transferred right into the new one. It's a literal soul transfer. Your spiritual bank account just moves with you.
And that transferred balance has a name. It's called prarabdha. This is the specific chunk of your past life karma that has successfully moved into your current life. It's basically the foundation of your destiny. It's the pre-written script of the profit, the loss, the fame, the infamy, everything you were destined to experience. Now, it's worth noting that an astrologer can look at a chart and see the result, right? They see the what you have to endure. But they can't see the specific past action that caused it. Only highly enlightened souls, the Triqual Mahatmas, actually have the vision to see the exact past action that triggered your present destiny.
Moving right along to section 2, destiny versus human effort.
Okay, so this brings up a super logical question, one I'm sure you're already thinking about. If our destiny is already written and transferred over, does that mean we just stop trying? Do we just sit back and let life happen to us? Well, the crucial point here is that karma is not just one giant solid block. Prarabdha is actually split into 3 different levels. First, you have dhrita. This is fixed karma. No changing it, it just has to be endured. Next is adhrita, which is changeable karma. This is the part you can actively reduce or cut down through conscious effort, right actions, and prayer. And third, we have dhrita. This is mixed karma, partially fixed, partially changeable. So because these categories are fluid, human effort or purushart is absolutely 100% required. You can't just sit on the sidelines. Rao shares this brilliant story from back in 1972 in Patna that hits the nail on the head. A university student came to him, heard his chart showed an amazing career period coming up and asked, well, if I have a good destiny coming, what if I just do nothing? And Rao gave him this metaphor. Imagine destiny as a giant warehouse completely packed with grain, and it's all yours for the taking. But your human effort? That's the container you bring to collect it. If you do nothing, it's like showing up to a massive warehouse with a tiny little handbag. You walk away with a handful of rice. But if you apply intense effort, if you roll up with 20 massive sacks, you collect an absolute bounty. So destiny is the warehouse for sure, but your effort dictates exactly how much you can carry away.
Let's dive into section 3, wealth that never decreases.
Let's talk about the ultimate investment. We need to compare what we leave behind when we die with the one thing we actually get to carry forward. The contrast is pretty stark. Material wealth is all over the place, it fluctuates wildly, and most importantly, it drops to absolute zero at death. You could be a millionaire today and, as Rao points out from reincarnation cases, be reborn into total poverty tomorrow. But spiritual wealth, specifically nitya karma, your daily spiritual practice, that never decreases. It actually compounds across lifetimes. In chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita, it says that spiritual progress never resets to zero. If you had 60% in this life, guess what? You start your next life right at 60%. You resume exactly where you left off.
And you can see how this builds using a sequence from the philosopher Shankaracharya. Since that spiritual wealth carries over, waking up your past life spiritual habits starts simply with step 1, satsang, keeping good company and good thoughts. That naturally rolls into step 2, nisang, where you organically just start detaching from bad company, which leads to step 3, mir mahatva, a real reduction in worldly attachments. That opens the door for step 4, nishal tattva, an unwavering focus on ultimate truth, which finally culminates in step 5, jivan mukti, or liberation. And the craziest part, it all just sparks from the company you choose to keep.
Moving on to Section 4, the downward flow of attachment.
Now, if detachment is the big goal, we really need to look at why we bind ourselves so tightly to worldly things in the first place. This philosophy talks about the 6 enemies of man. We've got kam, which is lust, krodh, anger, lobh, greed, mad, pride, matsarya, jealousy, and then there's moh, which is deep attachment. All of these can ruin a life, obviously. But when we talk about family in the domestic sphere, moh is the one that causes the absolute most intense bonding, and because of that, the most suffering.
Just think about this for a second. Why do we intuitively care so much more about our kids than our parents? It sounds a little harsh, right? But Rao points out this wild behavioral pattern. When people go to astrologers, they obsessively ask about their own lives and their kids' futures, but they almost never ask to check their parents' charts unless the parent is already really sick. So why is our concern so heavily skewed downward toward our descendants? Rao explains it perfectly with this natural law. He says water flows downward naturally. You literally have to pump it to make it go upward. Well, moha, attachment, works the exact same way. It flows naturally downward from parent to child. Just like gravity pulling water, attachment pulls us down through the generations, bonding us fiercely and, honestly, sometimes painfully to our children.
All right, our final section, number 5, family bonds and karmic debts.
This is where we decode those closest relationships and figure out why they bring us such crazy highs and such terrible lows. The master key here is a concept called Rina Ubandhan. This translates to the karmic debt carried over from past lives. Remember that bank transfer analogy from earlier? Your transfer doesn't just include your assets. It includes your outstanding loans, too. The people in your immediate family are not there by accident. Not at all. They're there for a very specific past life reason.
And this usually plays out in 2 ways. First, extracting a debt. Think about siblings who are just locked in a miserable, decade-long court battle over inherited property. Under karma theory, it's not actually about the real estate. Those siblings might be past life enemies who are reborn into the same family just to extract a karmic debt from each other. Same goes for kids who bring unyielding sorrow. On the other hand, you have repaying a debt. Children who are incredibly devoted and care for their parents right up to the end, they're seen as souls repaying a positive karmic debt. The ledger is just balancing itself out. Rao recounts this truly heartbreaking case study to show how heavy this gets. He analyzed the charts of a husband and wife, both high-level government secretaries, massive material wealth, huge pensions, properties everywhere. But when he looked at the 5th house of their charts, which represents children, there was a massive karmic affliction. The mother just broke down crying. Despite having all this money and power, one of their highly talented sons had tragically drowned, and the remaining son was intellectually abnormal. All of that mother's downward-flowing attachment, her moh, was completely trapped by this intense Rinanubandhan. Female students studying these specific cases actually put them into a book called Your Children and Your Karma. It's a stark reminder that absolutely no amount of material wealth can override a fixed karmic debt.
So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want you to take a look around your own life. Are your most frustrating family conflicts or your deepest attachments simply the echoes of a past debt being perfectly balanced? Think about it. Are the people sitting around your dinner table there to extract the debt or to repay one? It's a completely humbling way to view our relationships, and it really challenges us to move through life with a bit more grace and awareness of that spiritual wealth we're building for our next transfer. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.